Now, I know you don't like me asking the same questions.
Right.
But I got to ask you this question.
Okay, you'll chop this part out from the commercial?
Yes, I'll take this out from the commercial.
No, yeah, no problem.
But I got to ask you this question because
but you can leave it in.
The mighty Hebrew made me come back up with this question.
Okay.
With this whole thing about Israel was enslaved in Kemet.
Right.
Right? And you teach that.
Yeah.
What was the Hebrews doing in Kemet? Were they invaders? Did the Kemites come out and seek them and went to get them?
Right.
How did they end up in Kemet? Were they invaders?
Okay, so like I watched some of it, and so I heard him say some things that I definitely don't agree with. But he has the right to believe whatever it is he want to believe. But no, they did not come in as invaders. When you read the biblical storyline, we didn't even come in as slaves. So when you read the scriptures, it doesn't say we would be in slavery for 400 years. We would be in the land that's not ours for 400 years, specifically 430. So when we started off in Egypt, it wasn't in bondage. And that's in the story narrative. So in the narrative, Joseph brought his family into Egypt, put them into a part of Egypt called Goshen, told them to call themselves goat herders because the Egyptians didn't value shepherd work as value, so they would be left alone. And it wasn't until a Pharaoh came that decided to start putting them in subjection, putting them into hard labor, putting them into hard bondage, that then it became from being a guest in a house to being a prisoner in a house, to make it plain.
Now, in other words, because this is what I said to the mighty Hebrew when he got crazy. If they was first brought in as guests, then that's saying that they turned on them, that the Kemites just turned on them and put
That's
them in.
exactly what
So
it's
is
saying.
That what you're saying, brother?
That's exactly what I'm saying. And again, when you go into Exodus, it'll say there rose up a Pharaoh that knew not Joseph and said, let us deal wisely with them, because they saw Israel getting bigger. And so when we come in as 70 people, we're not a threat. But when we come in as more than that, now we're looked at as a threat. So now they dealt wisely with us to prevent us from being a threat. And so that's when the bondage and then the friendship goes away, and then now enemy comes into play. And so that's how that played out. So no, nobody could say that we started off as slaves in Egypt. We started off as guests, would be a better word, and then it became into enemies. And I believe Mighty Hebrew's premise was we have bigger issues today, but to say that it don't matter was probably the only mistake that he made, because I agree. So I agree. We do have bigger issues today than always talking about Egypt, but you can't throw it away just because we got bigger issues.
All right. Now, to bring clarity to this situation, that's why I'm not going to ask these questions no more. I want to know, according to the scriptures, how many Hebrews went into Egypt?
70.
How many came out?
The scriptures say, well, I know biblically when you go to Exodus, the 12th chapter, it says 600,000 men besides women, men, and children. So I don't know that it gives an exact number. I would have to look it up. I don't want to lie.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that so many came out if only 70 went in? Why?
Well, I mean, that's an easy answer, because we was having sex in Egypt, whether it was with each other or with Egyptians or with other nations.
Now, you know that the Hebrew men wasn't the only one having sex with the Egyptian women, with the Kemetic women.
Right. Just like today, black women and
Hold on. Also, the Kemetic men was also having sex with the Hebrew women. Do you agree?
I do agree.
So is it possible?
All of this is hypothesized, but I would agree based on how we are today.
So let me get it. So is it possible, brother, that you can be a Kemetic Hebrew?
You can't be both, because even if you take an Israelite man sleeping with a Kemetic woman, that child is Israel.
Right.
You take a Kemetic man sleeping with an Israelite woman, that child is Kemetic. So there's not that biracial thing. We don't deal with that in the scripture. The scriptures don't deal with it in a biracial sense.
But here's the thing, though. How do you know unless you take a test? How do you know what's in your bloodstream? You don't know,
DNA,
brother.
So now if the DNA based it on what we're saying, then maybe you might have a chance.
Right.
But there's no way you're going to take a DNA test and it's going to be based on what we believe. It's going to be based on what science believes and the people that run it. So like the Jewish man is not going to put us in what he considers his identity. He considers himself to be the Jew. That's why we say so-called Jew. And then you have us that say we're the Jew. So now, how are you going to combine them if we're not the same people? And because we're not the same people, so you're never going to get the truth in a DNA test, which is always the point. And so every time somebody takes a DNA test, it changes. So it might start off to 75% accurate, then 85, then 55. It jumps all over the place because the science for DNA for ancestry, I want to be very clear, because whenever I say this, they always say, well, what about a child and stuff like that? You have to look at science itself. If you think about it, when Commander General Hunter gets up here, he's going to talk about the vaccine. They swear we don't deal with science, but we're on record saying if you want to take the vaccine or not, that's up to you. You know, do the research. But don't lie and say the vaccine is, oh, this terrible thing if you haven't done the research. And it's not mandatory. So we do deal with science. That's my point of saying that. So the DNA for ancestry is just not accurate. Now you're falling into the questions you always ask.
So now let me ask you, let's say you see somebody at the camp. Y'all at the camp. He's learning. He's looking at you. He's fairly light-skinned, close to be white. But he tell you his father was black, African American. Y'all automatically assume that he is a Hebrew. He's black because you say you are what your father is. How do you determine the brothers that's in your camp is just 100% Hebrew Israelite if you don't do some type of scientific data? You got to come up with something other than belief, brother. It got to be something more than belief to determine this brother got Hebrew in his blood.
So what I'm going to say is y'all probably could watch the old tapes of me answering this, but I'll give you a simple answer. Everything that we do is spiritual. Every single thing. Our belief in the Bible is spiritual. So if we talking on the Bible account, we look at our condition, we look at the prophetic nature. Now, does that mean that somebody can walk into the class or walk up to the camp, as you say, and just tell us that my daddy is black or tell us my daddy is Hispanic? Yes, they can. But it's not that simple, because it's not our fault if someone lies to us and then let's say they come to class for a week or two. But we're for sure going to find out if what he says is true, if what she says is true. And if it's not true, then they won't be in. We've had an African try to come into the class, got into the class for about an hour. He said he was a Benjamite or a West Indian. And so he was able to talk and come and join the class for an hour. Within the hour, we knew what he was and got rid of him. So anybody can say something. But because it's spiritual, we will always be able to determine who's who, who's not.
Right. What is your take on ICL and Damona? His Hebrew Israelites. What is your stance on them, brother?
Well, I don't know too much about Prince ICL to speak either way about him. As far as Damona goes, I don't think it was the smartest thing to do at the time.
Why not? When you say smartest thing, what you mean?
Because the journey, the plan was to get into Israel. They ended up being in Damona. They ended up going to, not even getting to Israel first, but I believe to, not Libya, maybe Sierra Leone. They didn't go directly into Israel or Damona at first. And then as they got in there and they got established, part of the things you have to do, your child has to be a part of the Israeli government to receive citizenship. So now, just like in America, you sending your son off to fight wars that aren't his, it's the same thing for them over there. Otherwise, you just say illegal alien, like how Mexicans are today, or excuse me, how they treat Mexicans, saying that they're illegal aliens, or like if East Indians come over and they're illegal aliens, that's what you are, and you can be deported at the drop of a hat. I know brothers over there that get jobs under the table because they can't get citizenship because the white man is not going to give you citizenship just like that. And then you have the allegations of the molestation and stuff like that is taking place over there. I did monthly stories on this, like I think it was in 2018, I believe, or maybe 19, where I was doing monthly stories on the child molestation that was taking place over there. So I can't really speak on Prince Asael, but the stories, the horror stories, I should say, that come out of Damona, some of them I know from firsthand. So there are horror stories that come out of Damona, and if the whole goal was to be liberated, we shouldn't have went from one subjugation to another subjugation. So the whole goal was to escape the subjugation in America, but then you go to Israel and now you're subjugated by another set of white people.
Okay.
So it's no different.
Ariel and Abba Bivens, was General Yohana, was he ever a part of that group, or he came in after?
Commander General Yohana came in under Ariel.
Okay, good. Now, I'm quite sure General Yohana, being under Ariel, had to accept Africans because they was all about Africa. Which come the switch? Which come the change up?
Well, that'll be an excellent question that you can ask Commander General Yohana. Y'all know he'll be coming up for the interview. You can ask him. That's not true, okay, but he'll be able to expand on that further for you.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I think right now, I'm in a pretty good space.
Well, you know, I'm going to keep asking you this, man, until you face this brother.
What?
Garfield. You got to face him, Captain. Everybody is saying you're afraid. And I know you saying, I don't care what nobody say, but brother, they saying that he is stronger than polite. He is a force to be reckoned with when it comes to the history of the Bible. Why you don't just face him and just kill him? Get him out the way.
Garfield, he's not, me and Garfield I poke fun, like we're in this back chat together, so we mess with each other from time to time or whatever. But my stance has just not changed. Like, Garfield is just not somebody that I'm going to debate. And it's nothing against Garfield personally. The school is never going to okay me debating him because he stands on nothing. So it's not destroying. Okay, then so let's say if you take it outside of that, like I always say, tonight we got Cross the Line Radio. Mm-hmm. He's never called in to even. So you're saying if you call in, you'll indulge anybody in the can call in. Mm-hmm. And here's the thing: every week I put in that back chat, and I said this to you the last time. He saw the video and still ain't called in. So every week I put in that back chat. That girl Mika that moderates, she puts it in the back chat. She say, "Are y'all scared? Y'all calling? What y'all gonna do?" And every week nobody calls. So he hasn't even tried to bait me that way. He's just only tried to bait me through talking through you. Where if you really want to put my foot in my mouth, just call a show. I call your show. Mm-hmm. I don't call many people's show because a lot of people ain't that important to me. But if I want to call, I call. Mm-hmm. So like I did the Jesse Lee Peterson. I had reached out. They was doing some interview with some white guy. They called me, and so I said, "Hey, let's do an interview." That's reaching out. Mm-hmm. And if he would have said no, would have been no big deal. Okay. So that's
do you have a problem with Old Testament Hebrews? Why? If so, why?
Old Testament Israelites, I can't say I necessarily have a problem with them.
Well, you know, none of them accept Christ. None of the Old Testament accept Christ, brother. Yahweh.
Right, okay, but that's not a problem. So like when you say problem, right, this is how I look at it. Like problem like something I need to deal with. So in that sense, yes, I do need to deal with it. But something like I need to make a personal mention of Old Testament Israelites, I don't know if I need to do that because I lump all of y'all the same. So I put like the people I call the Comedics, Old Testament Israelites, they're the same to me. They're just lost black men and women. So sometimes I don't have to differentiate. And some I shouldn't take it. There might be a disadvantage on my part. A disadvantage in the sense of, in my mind, I look at them all the same, but I know y'all look at each other differently. So maybe I should be more linear, meaning like line of Old Testament Israelite here, Kemetic here, Muslim here, 5% here. So in the Old Testament himself, he's foolish to be in Old Testament. And the reason why he's foolish to be in Old Testament is because he's following something that was broken in the Old Testament. Now, when it comes to the New Testament, what I would advise any Old Testament Israelite that really, if you really, really, really love the Most High, you should come and see exactly what we're talking about. And it ain't got to be in a debate. Everything don't have to be a debate forum. You could call. My number is across the globe. So you could call, ask your question on what the New Testament say this and why does it do this and we'll clear up whatever issues you have. But when you can clearly read in the Old Testament that the Old Testament, we broke it dozens of times, you're following something that was broken during the time of our ancestors. So how can you follow a broken book? when the Lord is not going to hear you. So that's what I would say to Old Testament.
Before you joined ISUPK, when you was in the world, I'm quite sure you've seen many camps out there.
I never seen any camp.
Oh, so you only just was exposed to ISUPK? And the reason I'm asking you is because what was so special about ISUPK than all the other Israelites? What made you say, you know what, this is the group I want to be a part of right here?
How I got to ISUPK.
Right, because I'm quite sure you saw other groups. That's what I'm saying.
No, what I'm saying is how I got to ISUPK is why ISUPK is so special.
Go ahead.
Because I don't tell this story often, right? Because none of this is about me. I'm really not that special. Like, all of this goes to the Most High. The scriptures say we boast in Him. But since you asked me the question, I'll answer it. I never knew of any camps or anything like that. I met a brother online who introduced me to 6 or 7 other brothers and like 5 sisters. They was all like on this chat line. And that's where I was learning that originally, just phone calls. And then I'm being friends with them on Facebook, watch a couple of videos. I still hadn't seen no camps. I didn't know none of that. And then there was a falling out, like an issue between brothers over some doctrine that wasn't true, was true or whatever. And I became friends with the brother and I asked him where was the truth at. And he told me about ISUPK. I had never heard of ISUPK. And the reason why I asked him is because I loved him like a brother. To this day, I love him like a brother. And wherever he would have said to go, I would have believed that was from the Most High, and I would go there. And he told me ISUPK was the home of the truth. I knew nothing about it. So he sent me the radio show. He sent me the website. So I'm listening to Commander General on the show. I contacted them. And I asked them, where do they be at? And he said, we're going to be at the convention center February 28th of 2010. I was so naive. I'm thinking when he said convention center, I'm thinking it was going to be in the convention center, not on the street in front of the convention center. I'm thinking it's going to be in the building. So when I got down there, I couldn't find them at first. And I asked these street cleaners, I said, hey, man, I'm looking for the brothers, they teach about the Bible, the Israelites that teach about it. He said, oh, you talk about them crazy niggas that be yelling. And I said, yes, them. And so when I go around the corner, I see him on 12th and Market. And the first person that I saw was Captain Haz. He's General Hazayan now. He was Captain Hazayan at the time. And when I see him, and it was me and my wife came down there. And so when I see him, I introduced myself thinking he's supposed to know me because I'm thinking all Israelites just supposed to know each other. Right. So I didn't even have Tazaryach wasn't my name. I had a different Hebrew name at the time. And so I introduced myself and I'm like, I came to, hear y'all speak. And he was like, oh, we about to set up. I said, can I film y'all? He said, yeah. And so as I'm waiting for them to set up, me and my wife go get something to eat. When we come back, the first thing I ever saw was them with a white man on his knees. The first live boot kiss I ever seen in my life. And so I seen him, and they didn't get him on his knees like in some nice way. He was like, nah, you're going to get on your knees, you're going to pay for what your ancestors did. And he kissed all of their feet. And I've been ISUPK ever since. Now, wait, but here's the heavy part, though, the heavy part of it all. The brother that sent me to ISUPK was a GMS member. And I didn't even know it.
See, that's what I was going to ask you.
Okay.
The brother that sent you there, who was he? Is he a member of ISUPK?
No, he was not. I didn't know that he was in GMS at all. That's what made it more profound for me because I'm like, there's no way. Like, I'm in ISUPK right now. Somebody asked me where the truth is at. It can only be ISUPK. It can't be no other group. It can't be a Christian, Methodist. It can't be none of that. It can only be ISUPK. Otherwise, why am I here? So for that brother to tell me that, I always look at that as the Most High because, as I said, I love him to this day. And wherever he would have told me, I was going. And he could have told me GMS. He could have told me GOCC. He could have told me IUIC. He could have told me any other groups because I knew nothing about any of them. But he said ISUPK, and when I went there, that's been a wrap. So that's how I got to ISUPK.
Now, you got your wife with you. This is your first wife.
Yeah.
How did she accept it? Like when she walked up, was she receptive to it, or she like, yo, Tazaryach, this shit is crazy?
One thing I'm gonna say about my rib is that, man, through good and bad, man, she been a rider all the way, 100% guaranteed. And you know, being with a man in the truth is not always easy because we always doing work. Like right now, I'll be off. If I was in the world, I'd be off my job. I would have went to the gym, but then I'm home in the house chilling. But in this work, I'm gonna do this interview. Commander General Yohana coming. We got the class. We got a radio show. We got camp. I got counseling. I got so much stuff that I have to do now, and she has to accept that. And so it ain't been the easiest, but she's been a rider, a complete 100% rider with me from the beginning.
Now, at this time, you have one wife.
Yeah.
One wife. How long you been with her?
20 years.
Damn, 20 years. How difficult was it for you to bring in another wife, a queen? Because I know she ain't just accept that shit right away.
No, I wouldn't say queen. I wouldn't use the term queen. I know that's your terminology, but bringing on another wife is first of all, it's a scenario where you have to remove the current wife that you have out of the picture. What I mean by that is, no woman is going to give you the permission to share you. You're not going to go to your woman and she say, yeah, share me. And even if the ones that do, it's still going to be like a stressful depending on how you run it. So it wasn't the easiest transition, but we still here. It wasn't the hardest. It wasn't the medium. It was something that we worked through together. So we was able to work it out. She was able to understand that my love don't change for her. We're still the same. And that was like 10 years ago. So you talking 20 years we're together. So it's a lot of things that we've been able to work through and still stay together. And so she's still here. So she's a rider for that.
Now, the first one is the one that I met.
Yeah, a couple of times. At
Jabari's.
That's correct.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. She's a trooper.
Yeah, she's a rider.
Okay, so talk to me about if it was not ISUPK, what comes close to ISUPK? What other Hebrew Israelite group you can say, you know what, I rock with them? Is there anybody else you rock with? Of course, what I'm saying is, not saying that, oh, I'll take them over there, but I'm saying, like, who do you think comes second to ISUPK? As far as
an organization or as like individuals? Because I'm cool with brothers.
Organizations. As far as the camp or organization.
I can't answer that because I don't know those organizations. That's why I said as an individual.
Well, so, you know the leaders of it, like IUIC.
But I don't know their leader. I know of their leader. I've never met him. And so I don't know how they run their organization. I don't know how anybody runs their organization. And that's what I would have to know first. If I wasn't in ISUBK, I would make the same statement. Because I don't know. Now, sometimes you can hear things that come out of that organization. You understand? Like when a brother killed somebody, a brother killed a transvestite, he was in IUIC. An African killed a black sister over in the UK. He was in IUIC. So you can hear stories that come out of them organizations and be like, damn, that's messed up because of what you're hearing. But I don't know none of them like that to say. It's almost like you would think like it's commonplace to say, man, who's my top 5, so to speak. Right? Let's say if it was hip hop, Nas, it's my top, Jay, whatever you want to put in there, Rakim or whatever. But there isn't a top 5 Israelite group or top 3 or top 2. There's only one.
And there's only one Yahweh.
That's right.
There's only one Yahushua.
Right.
How come these different groups can't be on the same page? Like, how come everybody is all twisted and mixed up? You say that God is not the author of confusion. So,
God is not, but
so
man
he got to be the author of confusion, where all of these groups is confused on when is the right time to celebrate the Passover.
Right.
You got different times where different groups is like, no, it's this time. Another group say, no, it's that time. Like, when is the right time? Like, how come these groups are not on board and they all read in that King James Bible, brother?
You can't blame God for man's confusion. The Most High said it best when he says, one faith, one body, one baptism. That's not confusion. The confusion comes when someone says, I'm that body. This one says, I'm that body. This one says, I'm that body. I believe ISUBK, again, I can't speak for nobody but ISUBK, but we say we are that body. So if you think we're wrong, come and see. And I don't mean come and see like, you got to challenge us or anything like that. Like, I've invited every Israelite group at some point or another to at least have a conversation with us. Not a debate, not a battle, but just a conversation with us. Some have agreed and then reneged. Some have said no. So if you're not even willing to do that, then you're the confusion, not us. Because we're not saying that we're home of the truth and you can't come in. We're saying we're home of the truth, come in. Because everybody else will say, well, everybody don't have all the truth. I can't go somewhere that don't have the truth. If you tell me I don't have all the truth, then I'm not coming there, because I've been lied to my whole life. But this organization got the heart to say, we have the truth. So I'm going to go there, and I haven't seen nothing but the truth there.
How come ISUPK have not participated in other Israelites groups? Like, for example, when all the Hebrews go out west or go out something, you know what I'm talking about, when they all link up, how come ISUPK is never a part of that?
Oh, you asked me this before, very simple, and just give you the same answer.
Yeah.
We're never invited to even say yes or no.
So why do you think that is? That you're never invited, brother? I
can't answer that for them. I can only answer and say we've invited everybody to our cookouts, to our Passovers. Every year, Commander Jenny Hanna puts that call out for our Passover for everybody to come.
Now, let me throw this out there. Could it be that y'all not invited because y'all slogan is, if you're not a part of ISUPK, then how it go?
It's not of the Most High.
Right. So, brother, you don't see that being a disrespect to other Hebrew Israelite groups that's out there? You are telling them, you are telling all the Hebrews, if you're not a part of our camp, then you are not a part of the Most High. You don't see that as a disrespect?
No, because that's not the intent of it. We've explained what that means the whole time. And if we were trying to be disrespectful to them, we wouldn't invite them to sit down and have a conversation with us. We wouldn't invite them to our functions. We wouldn't invite them to everything that we have. Since I've been in the truth, I've only been in since 2010. Every year, I have invited Israelite groups to come and join us, sit down, talk with us. If you ask them, they'll tell you I'm not lying. So if we didn't feel that they didn't belong or something like that, we wouldn't tell them to come in. So we're all telling them to come in, and at the same time we're making this statement. Maybe you should understand what we mean. And I've explained this statement and why we came up with it dozens of times. It's for our protection against, as you say, renegade Israelites. So the ones that say you can rape, that protects us. The ones that say you can sleep with white women and Africans and Chinese, that protects us. The ones that don't believe in Christ, that protects us. That is our safe haven.
Now, when you say protects us, explain. Like, what you mean by that?
Protect us from when them Israelite groups, when Tazaryach and them got arrested. I know what you mean, but I want you to make it clear. When Tazaryach and them got locked up by the FBI, all the Israelites felt like they got locked up. That slogan we got protects us from that. When GMS, and they filmed them GMS members, when them white women, they told them white women, we gonna rape you, that protects us.
Yeah, you let them know that we are not a part of that.
Because
that's not us.
Again, that's our protection.
I got you.
And we've said this dozens of times, but people are just too emotional to, not understand what that means.
Now, you got Hebrew Israelite groups out there who I call internet Hebrews, Google Hebrews.
Right.
They have never followed nobody. So if you never followed nobody, how can you be a leader of anybody? You don't follow. You ain't never been a follower of nobody. Right? Well, so I'm asking you, what is your stance on Hebrew Israelites that don't have discipline? They not learning it from nobody because they never followed it. So they get online and they Google some stuff and they see how y'all groups are. They look at other, different groups and they assume that they are Hebrew Israelites because they may just change their name or something like that. What is your opinion on Google Israelites?
Well, the scriptures say leave them alone. So we don't.
What do you mean?
Meaning even the Israelite groups that you mentioned and stuff like that. Even us, you could put us in that category too. because if it's of the Most High, it'll fall. So I always say that wrong. If it's not of the Most High, it will fall. If it's of the Most High, it'll stand. So for me, ISUBK was established since 1969. Commander Jenny Hanna joined in the 80s and has held it down since the late 90s, early 2000s. So he's never left. So ISUBK has never fell. When you look at any other organization, just look at their track record. You don't have to believe nothing that I say. Just look at the track record of those organizations. How many times they changed their name, how many times they restarted, how many times they got different leadership, XYZ like that. And you make the judgment yourself. It's not for me to judge any Israelite group. So I'm not judging them as a group. I may talk about, let's say if they're saying something that's contrary to the scriptures, I'm supposed to do that. Right. But to say that you out of order, you all this, I can believe they're out of order, and that's exactly how I feel.
But isn't it a part of your commandment to go out in the highways and the byways and speak the word of the Most High?
We do that every week.
No, not you. Right. I'm talking about the internet niggas. That's what I'm talking about. I named some names. You ain't got to name no names. Okay. Like you got niggas like Jeremiah Judah. The only way you're going to see him or hear him is on the internet. You're not going to see him doing no work. You're not going to see him in the highways and the byways. Then you got another nut who calls himself Judah of Nazareth. You're not going to see him nowhere. They're going to talk a lot of shit about everybody, but you don't see them doing the work. Then you got other ones, like some call themselves Elder Ariyah, and all. That's who I call Google Hebrews. You don't see them doing the work, brother. That's what I mean by what is your stance on them? Not the name. You ain't got to talk about none of them in person.
Oh, let me just see if I need this call.
Yeah, go ahead.
Shalom, yo,
Hold on. Go ahead.
So when it comes to what you call the internet Israelites, and you mention those names and stuff like that, or the Google Israelites, you know, I don't know what to say. The only thing that I can say is that is not something that just is on them. The internet itself gives a platform to anyone, whether you're Israelite, Kemet, Methodist, atheist, Christian, everybody. The internet, remember I said this first back in like 2014, the internet is a gift and a curse because it allows us to put out the information, but anybody can put out information. So now you have to sift through the information to see what's real, see what's not. I'll give you an example. The vaccine thing, right? So people got mad because Jenny Hanna said take the vaccine, like it was an order. So somebody sends me this link and says, see, Tazaryach, they're using horseshoe crab's blood for the vaccine. And it was a USA Today article, so USA Today is a verifiable news outlet. So I have the ability to be able to read. So I clicked the link. And so when I click the link, the horseshoe crab is not using the vaccine at all. They're actually testing it on a horseshoe crab because there's something in the horseshoe's immune system that if it passes that level, then it can go to the next stage. So I said to the brother, I said, have you even read the article? He says, no. That's the problem with information. Everybody grabs the information and the headline itself says horseshoe crab used for the vaccine. So you and your brain thinks, see, horseshoe crab is in it. But when you have to read it to really understand it. So as much good information is out there, there's misinformation out there. I wish all of the misinformation was gone. And it was only the good information. But like anything, you got to take the good with the bad as far as the internet goes, not with the law. So I don't want nobody to try to say, see, Tazaryach say you could be bad. You can't be bad. But when it comes on the subject of the internet and Google and information, it's going to be good and bad. It's up for you to decipher what you choose to listen to. So anybody can pick that up. So Jeremiah Judah can pick it up, and he could be smart to somebody, or he could not be smart to somebody. I pray nobody is ever seduced by these men that are really just looking for fame or self-glory. And again, this ain't nothing about Jeremiah Judah individually. This is an open statement, not to anyone specifically, because you shouldn't be looking to do this for fame. I don't do none of this for Captain Tazaryach's name. I'm saying it like that on purpose. I don't do none of this so that y'all can talk about me, look at me, or whatever like that. For whatever reason, the Lord allowed me to be a vessel to fish men into the truth, to fish women into the truth. That's the only reason that I do this. So this ain't even about me. This is only about the Most High.
All right, brother. Are there any closing remarks, man?
No, I'm not. Nothing really. Just talk about my butters and stuff again, man. The most important part now to the general. Y'all know the general gonna be up in here. But like I said, just a reminder: if you get your products and they normally were like this in the glass jars, and you see them in the plastic,
the plastic is better.
The plastic is not only better, but it survives the horrific nature the post office has treated my products.
Now, how do they get in contact with you if they would like to get some?
So now, you want to get in contact with me 2 ways. I have an Etsy page. So if you go to my Etsy site, it's Tazaryach's Creations on Etsy. If you want my website, it's tlc1214.com. So www.tlc1214.com. You click that link and you'll get access to all of my product. Again, we have 2 new items. We have the black soap, which is this here. That's going for $10, and then we have the shea butter lotion unscented as well, which is also going for $10. Those are the new products that we have.
Okay,
so I look forward to your support.
And you also have a channel called Cross the Line Radio.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I know Cross the Line Radio. We have that every Thursday night, 10 p.m. If you want to be a debate, if you want to debate us, you can call me. My number is 862-224-9027, or you can contact Tazaryach 646-221-1117. You can call either one of us, set up a debate, or you can call live. It's a live show. So if you want to body bag us or cut us, please call in live. Catch us off guard. Ask us the question that you think we can't answer, and make sure you also catch Commander Jenny Hanna's show Mondays, Black Watch. I call it the Black CNN. If you want the real news concerning black people, every Monday, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. on YouTube, Commander Jenny Hanna's Black Watch channel. Make sure you check that out.
Now, you also have another show that you do. Is called The Chronicles.
Called Chronicles.
Why you haven't switched the
because I don't have 1,000 subscribers to go live on my phone.
You know you can make another channel off of Cross the Line channel.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you'll have 2. And it asks you, do you want to go live on Cross the Line, or you can name one called The Chronicles.
Okay.
And you can do it right from there.
Like that. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, you put me on game. Okay, all right, you put me on game. I didn't know that the whole time.
Studios and Black News 102 is merged together. So when I want to go live, it asks me which one you want
to use.
You can do it from your channel. So if you go down to your channel, it's going to say, do you want to create another channel? And you say yes. And then you put the name of that channel. I'm going to do it as soon as we finish. Called Chronicles.
Right.
And it'll be connected to both of your channels, bro.
Oh, okay, yeah, all right.
Get paid.
Put me on game.
What's wrong with you, man?
I didn't know.
How many times I've been telling you that? I'm like, yo.
You know, you had told me a bunch of times. I don't know why I didn't do it, man. So I appreciate it.
All right, brother. Peace.
All right, peace.